Thank you for joining the Transformation Update tonight, everybody. We are going to go into part 2 of the abandonment journey. You guys, I hope you have gotten your journals to begin this process. And of course, we know that healing abandonment is not easy at all. Okay, when you got an abandonment wound, it is one of the hardest things to heal. But the Lord died for us to have healing, not just physically, but in our emotions as well. This is the part 2, and we're doing a series on abandonment, recovering the abandonment wound. All right, let's get this together. All right, so, we described a little bit of what the abandonment was and all of that last week. So let's go ahead and pick right up in this, you guys. We're going to talk about the 5, hold on just a second. I got it written down here. The five stages of abandonment. We're going to talk about the 5 stages of abandonment. All right. And like I said, you can have a physical abandonment, you can have an emotional abandonment, and some of us can have both of those abandonment issues. And most of the time when we are constantly, let me say this before I begin the 5 stages, when you constantly begin to see yourself in dysfunctional relationships and you see nothing but a cycle of dysfunctional relationships, what that is saying to you and to me is that we have something in us at our core that keeps attracting us to those type of relationships. Okay. You don't have to particularly, if you want to write this part down, you can, it's fine. But I'm just giving you the in-betweens before I get into the five stages. But when you find yourself constantly in dysfunctional relationships, you guys, understand that is a problem. Okay. A lot of times when we are children, and we get that dysfunctional love, we'll that's all we know. That's what we've been accustomed to. So generally what happens is we're looking for abuse in our relationships, and you don't even realize it, but that's what's happening. You're looking for abuse in your present relationships, and you don't even realize you're doing it. And somebody that loves you healthy, somebody that wants to be in your life healthy, can almost seem boring to you. You know why? Because there is a deep unmet need. Okay? So first I want to say that the first portion, the first stage is the shattering. SHATTERING. All right, that's it. The first stage is shattering. You might have not even remembered when you experienced the first hit from abandonment, but you might was 5 years old. You might was 3. You might was 10. You might was 16. You might was 26. You might not even fully remember where it all began. Okay. But one thing that I can tell you is your amygdala, your MAYGDALA, amygdala, MAYGDALA. That portion of you stores every memory that has ever happened to you. Every frantic emotion, every hard emotion, every hurtful, it's all stored in your amygdala. Okay, so even though you may not consciously remember it, trust me, your subconscious remembers it. Okay, so the first one, like I said, is shattering. And this is the devastation stage. The devastation stage. This is when you're in shock. You're in panic. and you're in pain. This is the devastation stage. This is when you're in shock, you're in pain, you're in panic. So when the shattering took place, you may not even, like I said, you may not remember when it took place. Some people do. Some that are adults now, they remember being a child and never seeing their parents around. Or you may remember the death of a parent. You may remember, when you were, left out there at the school and your parent never picked you up, and it was a constant cycle of it. Or in your marriage, you was abandoned by your husband, or you was abandoned by your wife. Or, when you were younger, how your mom or your dad didn't take up for you and protect you and look out for you. And through that shattering, you develop a deep unmet need. And that's why when you presently get into relationships, it's not just that you're going to enjoy them. You feel like you need them. That's why we don't generally let go easy. It is not because because they're so good. It's because we feel like we're getting something from them we never got. And so you wrap your worth completely around that person, no matter how they're treating you. Again, somebody that treats you good and loves you and edifies you, you don't want them. It seems boring to you, but somebody that's abusive and dysfunction, because you know why? That's what you're used to. Hey, sweetie, glad to see everybody popping in. Emotional abandonment and physical abandonment, when you've experienced both of them, you probably are suffering from PTSD. Okay? So, this is why. This is why you're in unhealthy dynamics now. This is why, even in, like if some that's going to come up here, you're in marriages and you just feel this great big void on the inside. And you feel like, you're not satisfied in the marriage, or you feel like you're not satisfied in the relationship, or you feel like, you're in this abusive relationship and you feel like you got to keep tolerating it because you feel like you need them. You've developed an obsession around that. You feel like you can't live without them. And what has happened is you might be thinking, okay, I'm just feeling like that because they're so good. No, you feel like that because you develop you have an unmet need from what you went through when you were young. So now you have a very unhealthy unmet need. Okay. So in this devastation stage, you're going to experience shock. You're going to experience pain. You're going to experience panic. The severing of this important emotional bond makes you feel temporarily that you can't live without your love, the one that you love. When you have an abandonment issue, when you go through a present issue of that person saying they don't want to be with you and it feels like they're rejecting you because you have an unhealed abandonment issue, you'll begin to feel like you can't tolerate the fact that that you're getting ready to lose this person. And so you continue to hold on. Let me just say, when you allow people to disrespect you, when you allow people to put their hands on you, when you allow people to talk to you like you're nothing, all of that just shows that you got some core issues that need to be healed. You got some core issues that need to be healed because you keep allowing it. You have completely wrapped your worth around them. Sometimes that thing can go so deep and something is wrong with you because you be saying it to yourself. Why am I allowing this? Why do I still want my abuser to be in my life? Why do I feel like I can't move on without them? Why it feels like I'm obsessed? Why does it feel like, I need them? You know why? Because you have been exposed to nothing but, the word I'm looking for, abusive love. You don't know what right love is. You don't know what good, right love and true love is, because you've been exposed to the wrong type of you've been exposed to dysfunction, rather. Actually, abandonment issues, it's deeper than rejection alone. It's deeper. And that person that will grow up that is suffering from abandonment issues, they will experience, some terrible, terrible times in their life. You know why? Because they have an abandonment wound that needs to be healed. And so in the journal, I told you guys to go ahead and begin to start writing where you believe that the journey began at. Okay? Now listen, you may not remember the time, the second, and the date, or even the age, but you need to start it. You need to start writing about it, because you need this wound healed. Okay? So sometimes when you experience the loss of a relationship presently, you start having suicidal feelings. Old feelings of helplessness come back. Dependency begin to intrude into your current emotional crises. In other words, you begin to feel like you can't breathe, you can't live, you can't. Most people that suffer from abandonment, this is the emotions that they go through when they experience the shattering. They start feeling like I can't go on. I have to have them in my life. You allow dysfunctional behavior because you see that as a type of love. You got healthy people in your life, but you won't be friends with them. You won't share time with them. Some of us won't even go anywhere with them. Because you know why? It seems really boring to you, really. But you love that dysfunctional love when somebody rejects you and hits you, manipulates you, and do all those various different things. You know why? Because you think that's love. That's the love you're used to. So number one is the shattering. That's what happened, even if it started even when you were at your young life. That's what happened, was the shattering. Number two is withdrawal. Withdrawal. You begin to withdraw. Withdrawal. And love withdrawal is just like heroin withdrawal. And not withdrawal, but withdrawals. You know how you know how somebody is like I just described is a heroin addict, or like if it's something to eat or chips or something that you've been eating, and you've been feeding yourself, and then all of a sudden it's ripped away from you. You experience the withdrawal of it. That's what I'm talking about. So love withdrawal is just like heroin withdrawal, involving intense craving and agitation for the love you are missing. You thought that was some kind of love that you were missing or that you're going to miss. So now you're going through love withdrawal. You feel like you got to have another hit, like immediately right now. I don't care if it's abuse. I don't care. I just got to hear their voice. I got to have them in my presence. You're like it's a drug addict. Like you got to have it. I don't care how dysfunctional it is. I don't care if they're telling me they don't want me. They don't want me in their life. Some people even believe that folks want them, but not willing to give up the necessaries to have them. People that have abandonment issues, they generally see things that are not true because they'll be in denial. You believe that this person that you're addicted to, you're obsessed with, you believe that they can give you something you never had. You believe that they can fix you. You believe that they can bring something in your life that you never got. You believe that they can stop the pain. That is why when you break up with them, you go right back to those suicidal thoughts. You go right back to that loneliness. You go right back to that void. You know why? Because you at the core, you still never got fixed. You're not fixing the real issue. You're medicating it by these dysfunctional relationships. You're medicating it because some of us are not willing to go through the journey of healing. So yeah, you begin to experience the aching. This is still in withdrawal. The aching, the throbbing. My soul, I never forget, it went through a situation. I did not know that our soul can throb from pain. And I never forget when I experienced emotional throbbing. It was so bad that I felt like I needed something to numb me. Literally, I felt like, see, before I would smoke cigarettes, I could do something and it could just, help me through that pain, that inner pain that I was feeling. But when I experienced the emotional throbbing, it was like I had to have them in my presence. I had to, I felt them drawing back from me. And in my soul, it was like, if you lose them, you've lost everything. If you lose their conversation, it's not just hurt, it's pain. My soul, you guys, throbbed so terribly. I felt like if something do not help me to numb, I am going to blow my brains out. Or I am going to literally take something to go to sleep because I cannot take it. I literally felt my because when you love as deep, I can give love really heavy. Okay. But because of my past issues, I don't know when to let go. Okay. So at that point in time, it was like, even though you're in a new relationship, and this could be friendships, this could be personal relationships, escapism is very much the thing that we look to do. And let me tell you, when I felt that throb in my emotions, you guys, it felt like my soul, my emotions felt like something inside of me was getting ready to, I gotta have their love. I gotta have it. I gotta have it. I gotta have something. I got to have it. I got to have their love. It was like I was addicted to it because that I felt from them. I felt them snatch it back. And I was like, oh, no. I can't afford to lose it. I can't afford to lose it. And in some relationships, and you say you felt that about your mom. Yes. because your mom was your best friend. When we lose something, it's like you grieving a lost. So it's like a person that is on a drug or addicted to something. You go through the withdrawals, you're shaking, you feel the pain, it's raw. It's like, no, I don't care. Even if they don't want me, you will start settling for whatever you can get from them as long as you got them in your life, no matter how they treat you. Because all of your worth is in them. All of your value is wrapped around them. And some people don't want to feel that. Who wants to be throbbing in pain? Who wants to feel that? But you know what God was telling me? He said, you never allowed me to heal you. Let this get healed now. And I was like, I can't feel this. One person told me that if they begin to deal with the pain, they feel like they would have a stroke, a literal stroke, because of the pain they felt. That's why there's no way that when a person has went through that, they're grieving a loss, there's no way you can just immediately snatch them out of it. They would have to go through miniature processes of it. There's no way. You know why? Because the pain runs deep.